Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I'm back with day 3 of my NBA free agency grade. So before we start today's video, I'd love to hear those beautiful opinions down below in the comment section. Who do you think won free agency and who had the biggest moves made? So let me hear those opinions in the comment section. Like and subscribe to help the channel. So guys, let's get right into it. Thank you for the support. My channel has been blowing up the past 3 days and it's all thanks to you guys. So I'm scrolling through this right now, so if you guys want to pause to see your team, just take a look at what grade I gave them. So far, it's been either 28 teams only. The only 2 teams that haven't made a move, I believe, are the Memphis Grizzlies and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Have not signed anyone. And the Timberwolves are rumored to get Daniel Gallinari in not a sign trade, just a trade. So let's get right into it. I believe the Heat won for the free agency. They literally flipped Precious Achiuwa and Goran Dragic for Kyle Lowry. That is a steal. That's highway robbery. Then they brought back Dwayne Dedmon, who's a guy who had multiple games last year where he played 15 minutes or less and had a double-double in them. Had over 10 points and 10 rebounds in less than 15 minutes. Okay? And he shot 70% from the field. Ridiculous. They have PJ Tucker to replace Precious Achiuwa as... PJ Tucker next year will be better than what Precious Achiuwa would have been in year 2 of his career. And he's a guy who's, I'm pretty sure there's a player option the following year, and he's a guy who's a stretch 4, small ball 5. Same thing with Markieff Morris. They have 2 guys who are their backup centers behind Dwayne Dedmon and Bam Adebayo. So Bam Adebayo and Dwayne Dedmon are the 2 centers. Dwayne Dedmon's the main backup. But on small ball units, you can put PJ Tucker and Markieff Morris out there, throwing Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and Kyle Lowry. Holy crap, that could work great for them. And they bring in back Victor Oladipo on a minimum deal, who'll probably be back around February or March, or even just hold out to the playoffs. And then Max Strus to round out the depth chart. Now, next up, I have the New York Knicks. Look, the Knicks did great. They brought back Derrick Rose, Al Burks, Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, Kemba Walker, and Evan Fournier. They have now 2 point guards in Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker. Both can score tremendously. I expect Kemba to start, Derrick Rose to be the 6th man, and the second 6th man to be Al Burks, because they're probably going to go Evan Fournier at shooting guard and RJ Barrett at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, Nerlens Noel to start the year at center with him being backed up by Norvel Pale, and Taj Gibson on small ball lineups. And then once Mitchell Robinson comes back, and he'll probably come off the bench to start the year. And then once he shakes off the rust, Mitchell Robinson will send Nerlens to the bench. And then either Robinson will get extended and they trade Nerlens because he has a good contract to match for a wing player or something. And they get themselves a player, or they trade Robinson and get a guy on a rookie deal. I see the Nerlens more because $10.7 million to be a backup. That's more of starting center money. And I really like this. They get the scoring they needed. They brought back the key cogs in their machine, so that's good. I gave the Suns a B- because, look, yeah, JaVale McGee was the center that they needed. Chris Paul being brought back, I thought they should do a 2-year plus 1, a 3-year deal with a 3rd year being an option. And they brought back Cameron Payne, which they needed, and Adele Nadar, who had some good moments. I just don't think they made moves and they didn't have room to make those moves to get them back to the NBA championship game, the finals. I don't think they're going to be there. The Lakers, everyone's like, they're the retirement home. They're the retirement home. I love this. Not only did they bring in depth guys and Kemp Bazemore, Wayne Ellington, and Trevor Ariza, they brought in guys who can actually play right now. Dwight Howard, Malik Monk, Carmelo Anthony, and Taylor Horn-Tucker, and Kendrick Nunn. I think this is a deep team. Like, point guard, Russell. Shoot, small forward, not going to be LeBron. It's probably going to be either Carmelo, Trevor Ariza, or somebody else that, I'm not naming. And their power forward and center are LeBron and Anthony Davis. Davis backed up by Dwight Howard. Trevor Ariza and Carmelo back up LeBron. And then shooting guard and small forward is just going to be a bunch of shooters who can play defense. Alex Caruso, Tomas Stanarowski got traded. And Garrett Temple as well for Lonzo Ball, Tomas Stanarowski and Garrett Temple in a 2nd round pick just for Lonzo Ball, who they didn't really overpay, $21.25 a year. And they also get Caruso for off the bench, and DeMar DeRozan, and Tony Bradley to be a backup center. I love it. The only question mark is this team isn't going to be great defensively. Billy Donovan's never been a great defensive coach. And DeMar DeRozan was one of the worst defenders on the Spurs last year. And then Tony Bradley's not a great rim protector. Caruso is a decent perimeter defender, and so is Lonzo Ball. but they're not going to transform this team. I gave the Celtics a C minus. Y'all brought back Enes Kanter. This is like 2 times now in his career, back-to-back years, he's just returned to teams he played for. Is it Reggie Bullock or Bullock? Someone told me it was Reggie Bullock. I'm going to keep saying Reggie Bullock because I've never had anyone correct me on it before. And the only person who's ever corrected me was somebody in real life who was allegedly a Knicks fan. Allegedly. Yeah. Seemed like one of those guys who like you just talk to about basketball and then they realize you really know basketball and they like basketball, but they don't know it like you do. So they try to make it seem like they know it like you. But 3 years, $30.5 million, that's a lot of money for a guy who's one of the better 3-and-D guys in the league. I just thought maybe they should have done like a 2-year 20 or 2-year 18. I don't know. I don't know the value of players. Boban Marjanovic, Sterling Brown were brought in. Sterling Brown was brought in. Boban and Tim Hardaway were brought back. So Reggie Bullock and Sterling Brown as their 2 new signings. That's not bad. I like that. I think it's really good. I gave the Cavs a D, Jared Allen, when they could have signed and traded him. They got Evan Mobley. Why'd you do that? I don't like that. The Blazers get a B minus from me. Yes, Norman Powell was good, but basically you used all of your cap space and for Cody Zeller, Ben McLemore, and Tony Snell. Tony Snell led the NBA in 3-point percentage and is a decent 3-and-D guy. Ben McLemore is just a 3 guy. Can't even on his best day, he's still not the best defender. And Cody Zeller, like they just have like kind of a logjam at center. I don't know. How is this going to keep Damian Lillard from leaving? Kemba Walker gets bought out by OKC, and then Mike Muscala agreed to a 2-year, $7 million contract with OKC. Give him a D+. You get a veteran that you didn't need. You didn't need him. You should just be playing the young guys. The Jazz, I gave him a B because this Eric Pascal for a second-round pick was a robbery. That was a great deal. I don't get how Hassan Whiteside helps you when you have Udoka as Mbuki, who's more athletic than Hassan and Rudy Gobert combined. And your problem was the fact that Rudy Gobert got exposed in the playoffs for not being able to come out from inside, and they were just scoring over him. Rudy Gay is a guy who's a small forward and a power forward, so I think he's a good signing for them right there. He can stretch the floor, play some defense. And Mike Conley being brought back on really a cheap-ass deal. Spurs, I think they were one of the biggest winners in all of free agency, and that's because they get Zach Collins, who I think defensively can be just as good or better than Jokic Poeltl, who's probably like the 4th or 5th best defensive center in the league. And he can rim run, but he's also has the potential to be a stretch 4. Not only so he can pick and roll, or he can be a pick and pop guy. I really like Zach Collins. I think he'd be the best center on this team in 2 years. And they also got Jacques Landale, who is a better version of Aaron Baines. I made a video on him, so go check it out. Aaron Baines is a decent player, and Jacques Landale, maybe never an all-star, but a high-level starter. I think he could be at best. Doug McDermott, they get a stretch guy. They needed shooting, and they brought in even more shooting with trading for Chandler Hutchinson and Bryn Forbes. What a great deal. Bryn Forbes and Chandler Hutchinson and Doug McDermott, they got so much shooting. Somebody said they're going to buy out Thad Young. Thad Young's going to say, and so is Alfred Camino. Maybe I'm wrong with Thad Young, but I think they're going to keep Thad Young because he's a guy who would be a decent small ball 5, and he's a good starting power forward, and they're going to be a playoff team. The Raptors got an A- because, look, they got Precious Achiuwa, and they got Goran Dragic to help Fred VanVleet, Malachi Flynn, and, Gary Trent at the shooting guard spot. Or like at the guard spot, not just shooting guard spots. So I really like that for Dragic, Trent being brought back. Precious Achiuwa, who could be a small ball 5 if he puts on 20 pounds, or even a starting center and be next to Pascal Siakam. That'd be a lot of length. And then you get Sam Dekker, who's a small forward and a stretch 5, who most likely, he averaged 15 points and shot over 40% from the field over in Europe. I really like that. Gave the 76ers a C because Andre Drummond's actually a downgrade from Howard. Yes, they got some shooting in Georges Niang, the minivan, and brought back Furkan Korkmaz. But how is this improving your team? I don't think their team improved. I think it got worse, especially that they waived George Hill. Trey Lyles is a decent backup 4 who can stretch the floor and grab some rebounds. Kelly Olynyk averaged 19 points, 54% from the field, 39% from 3, 8.5 rebounds, about like 3 assists, a block and a steal a game for the Rockets. He's a beast. And they brought in Saban Lee and Corey Joseph to back up Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham. I like that. I give the Rockets a C. I like Daniel Tice to round out the center position and give him some depth and be a leader, and David Nwaba for some defense. But I think $12 million a year for Daniel Tice and $5 million a year for David Nwaba are overpays. I gave the Pelicans a B minus because look, they got Devontae Graham just for a lottery protected first round pick, which was great. They got Garrett Temple and Tomas Stanarowski, who Stanarowski is a more athletic and a better shooter version of Michael Carter Williams, and he's a guy who can play point guard and small forward and even shooting guard. Garrett Temple's older, his 3-point shot has fallen off a little bit, but he's a good player. He's a good 3-and-D guy. They also brought back Didi Lozanda, who's on a decent deal. Nicholas Batum, I'm giving him a C minus because all they did was Nicholas Batum. They need some perimeter defense, and they haven't found it. I gave the Pacers a B minus because Kiefer Sykes, cool, you got the guy who hit the game winner in the basketball tournament. T.J. McConnell on a good deal. Torrey Craig on another good deal. They had Jakar Sampson, who's this Costco version of Torrey Craig, and look, they got the better version of Jakar Sampson. I like what the Nuggets did. They got Austin Rivers, the man with Facundo Campazzo, Monte Morris, and Bones Highland, the point guard position until Jamal Murray comes back. I love that. They got the Green Bros and Jeff Green and Michael Green. They're not related, but I'm calling them the Green Bros. Jeff Green's a small forward, power forward, while Michael Green's a power forward center who both can stretch the floor and are switchable defenders. And Will Barton got a pay raise of $2 million, and he's a good scorer. He's a good third, fourth scorer. The Hornets got a pick by giving up Devontae Graham, and they bring in a backup point guard, Ish Smith, who's a guy who shot 37% the past 2 years. Will give you like 9 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds a game. The Bucks make some move. They bring back Portis on a cheap deal. They get a switchable defender in Shemi Ojeleye who can guard small forwards, power forwards, and centers, and is willing to take threes even though he's not good at them. Rodney Hood's a great 6th man for them who can score points off the bench and bunches. And they also get back George Hill, who's a great backup point guard. So Rodney Hood replaces Britton Forbes. Shemi Ojeleye is a good power forward, and George Hill is a good backup point guard. Rashawn Holmes, a beast, 4 years, 55, comes back to be their starting center and get backed up by Alex Lynn. They keep Mo Harkless, who's a good 3-and-D guy, and Terrence Davis, who's a great story and that came here in a cheap 2-year deal for $8 million. Great deal in my opinion. Blake Griffin, small ball 5, stretch 4, same thing James Johnson. And James Johnson's a guy who can guard, small forwards, power forwards, and center. And they get a backup point guard in Patty Mills. I like that. Gorgie Dang, Solomon Hill, and John Collins all go to the Hawks. Solomon Hill and Gorgie Dang are great depth guys, great backups. And Gorgie Dang can actually play some small ball 4, stretch 4 if they need to. And he's a good small ball 5. And John Collins they bring back. Yes, you could argue it was a little bit of an overpay, $25 million a year. The original deal was a 4-year, $90 million. So you know what? They gave him $10 million more than what they wanted. So it wasn't terrible. Golden State gets a B. Otto Porter, he's a good shooter. He's a good 3-and-D guy if he's healthy. And Nemja, he's a good 3-pointer. He's not going to give you any rebound or defense, but he's there. Then Orlando, they got Robin Lopez and Mo Wagner, and they already have Wendell Carter and Mo Bamba. You guys cut Kem Birch last season because it was a logjam, so you just created another logjam. I hate when the Magic do this. So let me hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this? That's it for me, you guys. But peace out.